Hey guys, it's Roscoe, and on the Space Couch today I'm going to be discussing this, Leviathan Falls by James S.A, the ninth and final book in The Expanse. This will be a spoiler review, so read the book first if you don't want to get things ruined for you. So it opens with basically the prologue chapter, and it's Winston Duarte, and in the previous books, after the various attacks by the gate entities, his mind was completely gone. In this opening chapter, he gets his mind back together, and the first thing he does is basically turn Dr. Cortazar into a smear of jam across the wall, and then he basically walks out of the Laconia State Building, and he's gone. In the wind. No one knows where he is. So Colonel Aliana Tanaka is tasked by the Laconian authorities with finding him wherever he is in the Empire and bringing him back to try and direct the war against the gate entities. And I think the best way of finding him is to find his daughter. And that's basically what she's trying to do. Locate the High Consul, locate the daughter, one will lead to the other. Teresa Duarte, she's actually with the crew of the Rocinante, in hiding basically. She's like a junior member of the crew under Amos's tutelage. So a large chunk of the book is basically Tanaka trying to find Teresa, trying to find the Rocinante, and those two groups trying to, the Rossi crew trying to avoid her. But of course their paths do cross, and it's a big betrayal. She's trying to get them to hand over Teresa, but they're not going for it, so she decides she's just going to kill them and take her. That doesn't work out so well. She gets shot in the face by James Holden. But she also manages to shoot Amos, basically right through here with a great big hole, and Amos is dead again. But when they take his body back to the ship, after a few minutes, he's alive again. The protomolecule, the drones that had repaired him on Laconia previously have brought him back again. So they're trying to figure out, what do we do? How do we hide from this person? In the meantime, other chapters are basically following LV Okoye in the Adro system. That's the one with the giant green diamond the size of Jupiter. That's basically is the database for the original Builder civilization. And there's various chapters that's called The Dreamers. It's basically them trying to get the information from the database. But it's almost written like a word salad. It must have been so complicated to write. But the next chapter will then basically be them discussing in plain English what the dreams were actually about. And the ring builders basically evolved, think of a moon like Europa, ice moon, water underneath, and then things like the hot smoke vents and volcanoes at the bottom providing rich nutrients. And so they have developed in that sort of environment at the start. It's quite fascinating to learn about it. But in the meantime, the attacks by the gate entities, the enemy, are continuing, and they're happening all the time. And it's things like changes in light speed, changes in gravity, changes in things like the mass of electrons. You know, the description is like they're rattling all the windows trying to find a way in. And in one of the systems, they actually managed to kill everyone, but they don't realise that they've succeeded. Otherwise, they could just kill everyone. But basically, they realise that Duarte is in the gate station at the centre of the ring space. So everyone's all heading there. But there's one ship, and it's the ship that has Alex Kamal's son and wife and newborn child on it. It's going through the gates, and it goes Dutchman. It like dissolves, you know, and those like clouds of atoms and stuff. But Duarte undoes it, brings it all back together. And they exit the ring gate back into the regular space. But now everybody is starting to have thoughts of other people's memories, and it's spreading exponentially. And what he's trying to do is make all of humanity into a single hive mind organism, where like the individual is nothing, and it's just a hive mind, as I say. But people don't really want to do that. But that is spreading, and so they're all trying to get to the gate station to find Duarte, talk sense into him, to stop him turning everyone into one organism. And this is where things all really start to fall apart, because everyone, like I said, it's spreading throughout all the systems. The Rocinante and the crew there they're in the gate space with some of their underground allies. Tanaka is there, Alliance of Convenience, because she wants Duarte back, to try and help them and stop all these other ships that are now controlled by the hive mind coming in to stop them. So Holden and Teresa and Tanaka, they go to the gate station to find their way in. They do have an ally, because the only way you can get into the station is if you have a sample of the protomolecule, a live sample of the protomolecule. Like the previous time when Holden and Miller, or the apparition of Miller, went to the gate station to open the ring gates in the first place. So what Holden has done is he has taken Okoye's group have got several people infected with a protomolecule, which is what they're using to get into the database, the Diamond database. But he takes a sample of blood from one of them and injects it into himself. So he is now infected by the original protomolecule. But the reason he does that is because he needs an ally, and that ally is Detective Miller. Detective Miller reappears, and it was brilliant. It's like he injects himself, and then you hear a voice like, well, this can't be good. And it's Miller standing there in his pork pie hat and all of that, and it was great. So that was really nice to see him coming back as well. So they're all in the gate station. Duarte's wired himself in. Think like Dral in The Great Machine in Babylon 5, but much, much worse. Tanaka, she takes Teresa there because they think she can appeal to Duarte to stop what he's doing with the whole hive mind thing. He won't stop. So basically, Tanaka attacks him. They both die. But now everything is basically fallen apart, and the ring gate entities are starting to emerge into the ring space, and then they'll go through the gates and kill everyone. So the only way to stop that is for someone else to take their place. Who do you think is going to take their place? Of course, it's James Holden, because that's who he is. So he has to insert himself into the gates, the ring mechanism, to try and hold back the gate entities. And he tells all the ships in the gate space, get out of the gate space, go through the nearest ring, and assume that is where you are going to end up. So everyone scatters. The crew of the Rosse have to split because Alex wants to go to the planet where his family is. So he takes the Rosse and does that. Amos and Naomi and Teresa, who has survived and has been let out of the station by Holden, they go on a Okoye ship which was docked with the Rosse to head for Earth. And everyone manages to get out of the ring space. And then Holden basically collapses the mechanism and cuts off all of the gates from each other and destroys the ring space. It describes it as the second biggest explosion in all of creation after the Big Bang. So the gate space is cut off. All of the worlds are now separated, all 1,300 of them. But Naomi says, we only had one chance before, one solar system. Now there's 1,300. And yeah, a lot of them are not going to make it, but humanity has a chance now to spread out amongst the stars and evolve. And that is how it ends. But then the epilogue chapter is like 1,000 or so years later, and it's called The Linguist. And one of the colony worlds, which has survived, has now come up with this method of travel. Let's call it FTL or whatever, because they change their energy state, they flow through the universe, and then they reassemble at their location. And they land on Earth. And who's waiting there to greet them but Amos Burton? So humanity has got a chance. It's started to spread out now. And we'll see, well, we won't see where it goes, but they have got that chance. So what I really liked about it is all the callbacks to the previous books. So the Canterbury gets mentioned, Eros, Miller gets mentioned before he turns up, Avasarala is mentioned. It was really well done how they brought back other things from the previous books to tie it all up in a neat little bow. And it really was a fantastic read. They stick the landing, and I'm very much looking forward to what else they come up with in due course. Not that there'll be any more stories of The Expanse. But yes, The Expanse, Book 9, Leviathan Falls, it is an absolute triumph. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it to you. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content. Leave me a comment or suggestion for what come topic you'd like to see discussed, or like the video.